glory, the King above all kings. Rulers and nations, truth and justice, shine the sun and all of its brilliance. King of glory, King above all kings. This is amazing grace. This is unveiling love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross, you would lay down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy, worthy. This is
I think it's an honor to have her. I don't think that she has preached with us in this setting since we have merged. And so this is definitely going to be another treat for us. But as she comes, I know the Lord is using her. He is searching all of the deep places, not just in her, but in all of us. And I just want us to be open because He's got a specific word for us this morning of that I am certain. Amen. Amen. If you can stand with me, I'm going to go to the Lord in prayer. Father, we thank you. We thank you for your Spirit in this place. Lord, we thank you for the freedom that has already happened in this place today. We thank you, Lord, for the healing that has already happened in this place today. Lord, we trust you today with your word, that it may be delivered, that it may be heard. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. You may be seated.
Thank you.
Amen.
Bless her, Jesus.
I would say it's ironic that I know it's the Lord.
Come on.
That we're talking about journey with our children.
Jesus, Jesus.
That we're singing about Jesus, because that's what we're going to talk about this morning.
My mind.
If you could be gracious, if you could be patient with me, I won't hold you long.
Jesus, bless her.
But I want to take a few minutes this morning and share with you a piece of my journey about finding Jesus right now. And I wish I could share it all, but I don't know it all yet. And I know that might seem strange because I'm behind the pulpit this morning.
Jesus, Jesus.
Am I saved? Yeah, I am.
Yes.
Do I believe that Jesus is the Son of God? Yes, I do.
Yes.
Do I believe that He hung on a cross, that He died for my sins, that He rose again? Absolutely.
Yes.
So what do I mean by being on a journey to find Jesus if I've already found Him? And if I already know Him? That sounds a little strange.
Come on.
I'm a woman raised in the church,
Jesus.
privileged to worship freely, who's professed her love for Christ since I could sing, Jesus loves me. This I know. One who's been saved and Holy Ghost filled, who's felt the presence of God and been witnessed to miracles.
Yes.
But I'm on a journey with Jesus to find Jesus.
Come on, man.
And I'm going to begin today and where I've begun. I've gone back these last several weeks, and I've had to do a lot of reading for I work with 6th grade in an English class, and I've had to read a lot of novels this year. But I said I've probably read close to 10 novels since Christmas. So I said I'm going to open my Bible and start from the beginning, and I'm just going to read it through because I don't think I've ever sat and read it cover to cover, and I can zip through these novels. So when I cracked my Bible open, it didn't quite work that way.
You better come on.
Because I kept pausing and I kept stopping and I kept saying, I don't remember this. I read it, but I don't remember this. I don't remember quite reading it this way, these words jumping out on the page quite this way. So you can hang in there with me. We're going to start at at Genesis, and in chapter 28, around verse 10, it starts to tell the story of Jacob leaving his father's house in pursuit of a wife and also fleeing from an angry brother.
Come on now.
While on his journey, he had a dream, and the Lord spoke to him, revealing the same promise of his father Isaac and his grandfather Abraham. And I'll read Jacob's response to that dream, starting in verses 16, going through 22. And it says, "And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not.
Come on.
And he was afraid and said, How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillows and set it up for a pillar, poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God will be with me and will keep me in this way I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house, then shall the Lord be my God. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and of that thou shalt give me. I will surely give the tenth unto thee." It's a familiar text. You've heard it many times, I'm sure. But I want to point out to you that this is the moment that Jacob considered following the Lord. He didn't say he was going to. He just said he would consider it. Now, the passage doesn't seem strange until you remember who his daddy is and you remember who his granddaddy is. So Jacob, the grandson to Abraham and the son to Isaac. And I just want to set up this picture for you, because Abraham, we remember how he was faithful to the Lord. How the Lord blessed him and made promises to him, even though he struggled with fear and doubt. He put his wife in awkward positions. He lied to kings. He tried to bring forth the promise of God on his own by having a child by a maidservant.
Come on now.
And then we can look at Isaac. This was Jacob's father. He was the miracle that God had promised. He was the fruit, the proof that God would remain faithful. Isaac was also deceitful and lied to kings and showed favoritism toward his son Esau. He also was made the same promise by God, giving favor and blessing. What am I saying? It's not all good and it's not all bad.
Come on now. Come on.
I'm saying that Jacob grew up with favor, with a blessed home, with a father and a grandfather who followed the Lord, and I'm sure with the knowledge and customs of worshiping God. You remember he set up the pillar and he poured the oil on it. Somebody taught this man something.
Yes.
Because he said, surely the Lord is in this place.
Sure.
But we also see Jacob being deceitful. We also see Jacob rushing the promises of the Lord.
Yes.
You know how he set up Esau? And we see him later showing favoritism to one of his wives and her children with him.
Right.
And yet Jacob said to be about 77 years old. That age shocked me, actually. But doesn't matter the age. He was a grown man. Was just considering to follow God on his own for the very first time.
Jesus.
A little strange. And I say considering again because in the passage we just read, he said, if God will, then I will.
If God will.
God appeared to Jacob personally, spoke with him directly, and Jacob is just considering the idea of following the Lord. How strange. It's not that strange. No doubt, I'm sure that this is where Jacob began his journey on discovering who God was for himself. It didn't matter who his daddy was or what his relationship with God looked like. It didn't matter who his granddaddy was and what his relationship with God looked like. It didn't matter that he was raised in the customs and the ways of the Lord. In this moment, Jacob had to decide for himself.
Jesus.
Let that sink in for just a moment.
Jesus.
In this moment, God was beginning to reveal himself in a different way than he had to his father and his grandfather. The message was the same, the promise was the same, but the delivery through a dream was a little bit different. God was speaking with Jacob in a way that he would listen. God is seen throughout the next chapter showing favor and showering blessings on Jacob. He pulls him out of some situations. But there was still something a little bit impersonal about Jacob's relationship with God. Because Jacob still refers to God sometimes as the God of my father. That's subtle, isn't it? See, we like to say that. We like to talk about what God did in Grandma's day.
Yeah.
And we put merit on, oh, the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac.
Yeah.
But there was something impersonal about that. Subtle note. Because wasn't he the God of Jacob?
Yes. Yes.
We find that God continues to reveal himself to Jacob as Jacob is once again preparing to leave his land, move into a new season of life, leaving his land to come face to face with the brother that he deceived. He's facing some stuff.
Yes, he is.
He's going back.
Yes.
It's hard to go back sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Isn't that all about having families that have conflict
Right.
and we just cover stuff up and we want to go on and act like stuff doesn't matter?
Come on now.
But in this moment, Jacob was going back.
Yes,
Yes.
it was.
He was going to face that brother.
Yes.
Some very hard things. Not everybody would have the notion that Jacob had to do that. And it's there in Genesis 32 when we come to the place where Jacob wrestles with the Lord. Starting in verse 24, and Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day.
Right.
When the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket, and Jacob's hip was put out of joint as he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for the day is broken." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me."
Right.
And he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." Then he said, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men, and have prevailed."
Yes.
Then Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." But he said, "Why is it that you ask my name?" And there he blessed him. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, saying, "For I have seen God face to face, and yet my life has been delivered." The sun rose upon him as he passed Peniel, limping because of his hip. Another familiar passage.
Yes.
But it was right there when Jacob was alone, when he had just finally chose to go back and make peace with his brother, to face some things in his past that he probably wasn't proud of.
Right.
In this moment, as he was entering into a new season with his family on his own for the first time, this moment was not a face-down tearjerker.
Hey. Come
It was
on.
a fight.
Right. Right.
Come on now.
Right.
It was a fight.
Yeah.
I've been in an awkward place where I've been afraid to fight with the Lord, but that's what I've been doing. And it's been a good thing. Because I've told him some things that I didn't understand. I've been able to tell him some things that I have been angry about. And guess what? He's given me a safe place to do that.
Yes. He does. He does.
Jacob wrestled with the Lord for so long that finally he was injured and never the same again. So touched, so altered, so determined to have his own blessing, to know who this was he was wrestling with for himself, that he was forever changed. He still had issues and wasn't perfect. You can go on and read that for yourself. But this was now his God.
Yes.
Yes.
There would later be people that would say, the God of Jacob.
Yes.
Not his fathers, not his grandfathers, but his.
Right.
And I said all that to say that when we have an encounter with the Lord, that we are changed, we're wrecked, we are broken, but be gracious. Be gracious to yourself as God, as Jesus, reveals himself to you differently in different seasons.
Right.
Yes.
Sounds a little strange because we say God is the same and he never changes. But he's specific to us.
Yes.
And I don't mean that he's a God that we make our own and we tailor to fit whatever it is that we decide to be doing, but he meets us in a personal way.
Yes, he does.
Be willing to wrestle through tough moments that your parents' religion or relationship with God didn't teach you. When you have to face difficult things and when you have to stretch, because what we learned in Sunday school as a child just isn't enough for this season of life.
Right about that.
Be gracious to yourself and look for Jesus and his promise to never leave you, even in moments that life feels like a wrestling match.
Yes.
And you've been wounded. Have you ever been wounded
Yes.
while walking with the Lord?
Yes.
I have. Be gracious to those children, to those grandchildren, to those nieces, to those nephews, to those friends, those sisters, those brothers, those spouses
Yes.
who may be on their own journey that doesn't quite look like yours. Remember the early days of being married, and some of you are going to laugh because you may be still in the early days. I know. We'll be married 10 years this year. And in those first couple of years, Brock wasn't on the same journey as me. He wasn't in the same place, or he wasn't where I thought he should be.
All right.
But the Lord was with him.
Yes, yes.
But my religion repulsed him.
Jesus, Jesus.
But God was with him.
Yes. Yes.
And when I understood that, when I understood that God can be on this side of the road and this side of the road at the same time, when I understood that his life, his salvation, that wasn't my business. That was between him and the Lord.
Come on now.
When I embraced him with the same love that Jesus embraced me with, wasn't so repulsive anymore.
Jesus, Jesus.
He began to find his own Jesus and not my version of who I was portraying him to be.
Right, right.
So be gracious. Be gracious. Look for Jesus with the gumption of Jacob, but look for Jesus.
For Jesus.
I'm on my journey
Yes.
with Jesus to find Jesus, because the church and the world has a lot to say
Come on.
about what my walk with Jesus should look like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say that arrogantly,
Right.
but a lot of people have a lot of different opinions,
Mm-hmm.
even under the same roof.
Yeah.
So Jesus, who are you? Jesus, where are you? Jesus, why do you look different here than you do here?
Right, right, right.
I've got to find you, and I know that I'm going to find you through you. I'm on my journey because there's been some days that the teaching and preaching and the do's and don'ts wasn't quite enough for the stirring in my soul and the grief in my spirit.
Jesus.
It's grieved me to forget that I needed the same saving as the rest of the world. It's grieved me to think about the passage of Scripture that I'm so often quick to teach. We teach our little children first what that Scripture, for God so loved the world that He gave His only Son. And yet I treat the world as less than I am. As something to not get too close to so I don't look bad.
Jesus. Jesus.
But God so loved the world that He gave. He gave His Son. He gave Jesus. He gave love. He gave grace. He gave relationship because He loved the world.
Yes.
He loved the world.
Right.
The world.
Yes.
That one we try to stay away from, the one we try to close up, keep out of these four walls. That's who God loved. So, on my journey to find Jesus, through Jesus, I ask myself a lot, and trust me, I know how cliche I'm about to sound, but I've asked myself on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis, what would Jesus do? See, there's people that I love, there's people that I care about, and I hear, where the church says we need to love everybody, but somehow we treat people differently. So I've been trying to find that place. What do I do with that? Because I love these people. My heart's broken over these people. I want to embrace these people. But what do I do when I enter into life with these people?
Jesus.
We'll get there.
Jesus.
So I asked myself, what would Jesus do? What did Jesus look like to the different people He came into relationship with? See, Jesus was radical. Jesus was the very epitome of love that made the people of His day curious, if not most uncomfortable.
Right.
Because they didn't know what to do with such love, such relationship, apart from the rules that they were used to following. And those who chose to believe had to wrestle with this. I've had to wrestle with this. But it's not all bad. It's not all bad, because you remember Jacob, you remember that story? Somebody taught that man how to worship.
Right.
But you also remember that he still had some stuff that his granddaddy dealt with.
Yeah.
He still had some stuff that his daddy dealt with. We didn't talk about that though, because we just said it was the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac, not the God of the liar.
Yeah. Come on now.
And the God of the man who gave his wife to another man just so he wouldn't be killed. We don't say that. But that stuff was still there too.
It was there. It was there.
Not all good, but
Yeah.
not all bad,
Right.
because God was faithful.
Yes.
But what do we do with all of that? We learned from all of that.
Yes.
So those who chose to believe had to wrestle with this. It seemed so contradictory to the way they had lived their lives, the way they had always followed and worshiped and even belonged. I've struggled with that. We want to belong. I don't want anybody to see us as different, as hypocrites.
Come on now. Yeah.
They had to wrestle with and be okay with the teachers and priests and even family looking at them differently and even as blasphemies for accepting this new love of Christ. So on my journey to find Jesus through Jesus, I'm reminded of Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus the tax collector, Zacchaeus the man that everybody hated, Zacchaeus the man that climbed up in the sycamore tree just to get a glimpse. And Jesus said, Zacchaeus, come on down. Not to point out his sin, not to tell him to straighten up, not to get him into hell, but say, come on, man. We're going to go have lunch at your house today. And after that lunch, it doesn't say what was said, but I choose to believe that Jesus still didn't point out that stuff to him. But the love and acceptance that Zacchaeus felt that day from Jesus filled his heart so that he wanted to go make right with the people that he had wronged. I'm reminded of Peter, when Peter, the one who had walked with Jesus, who Jesus had poured into, but who was afraid and denied Jesus 3 times. But Jesus said, Peter, do you love me? Yes. Peter, do you love me? Yes. Peter, do you love me? Yes. Okay. Peter, who would later be called the rock of the church. The woman at the well, when Jesus, the disciples are on their little journey, they would normally, skip around this little place called Samaria because they didn't associate with those folks.
Come on, man.
They didn't worship quite the way that they thought they should worship. They didn't live their lives in the customs that the other Jewish people lived in. But Jesus said, today I must needs go through Samaria. And even his closest disciples didn't understand why he would choose to go that way. But he had an appointment that day to meet a broken woman that day. He came to her a little bit differently than he had to others that day. What about the woman caught in adultery?
Tell it. Come on, man.
That scripture says she was caught. Like caught. Y'all hear me? Caught. Okay? So back then a woman could be shamed, jailed, killed for just a mention of something, but this woman was caught. What did Jesus do? He didn't just save her soul that day, he saved her life.
Yes, he did.
The lepers and the lame that Jesus brought healing to. And I'm sure he did something for their souls, but even some that he didn't, because you remember, not all came back to say thank you. But Jesus still brought healing.
Yes, he did.
The woman with the issue of blood. Now I'm convinced that this woman had an issue of blood that you could see because they didn't have all of the technology that we have. And so technically she would have been unclean. Technically she shouldn't have been out in the crowd because if she touched anybody else, they would be unclean. Technically Jesus shouldn't have been anywhere near her according to what the Jewish laws were.
Right.
But she took a chance.
She did.
And instead of Jesus becoming angry, he said, who touched me?
Come on, man.
And he healed her body that day.
Jesus.
This is my favorite. The men on the road to Emmaus,
Yes.
when they were walking and talking with Jesus, And they were telling Jesus about the story of himself and didn't even know who he was until he revealed himself to them in a brand new way.
Come on, man.
They had already known Jesus.
Yes. Go ahead.
But he had to show them again who he was.
Show them again.
The disciples on the water, when they saw Jesus and thought he was a ghost. And again, when they were hidden after his death. This Jesus who they shared life with, they lived with, he taught them, performed miracles with them.
Yes.
And still, he had to continue to reveal himself to them. They needed to see him and know him in a new way.
Right.
And not forgetting Paul,
Jesus.
that one who killed Christians,
He did.
that one who saw out,
Jesus.
was also radically met by Jesus. So radically met that it also left him physically altered, much like Jacob.
Yes.
So Jesus, the one we know, and yet the one who can still reveal himself to us. And I'm closing.
Jesus.
So as our ministers come,
Jesus.
just available to anybody seeking prayer today.
Jesus.
Even if you already know him. Even if you already walk with him. You already talk with him. I pray that you will still seek him today. If you could stand with me. I pray that you would seek him new today. That you would seek him as innocently as a child and as earnestly as Jacob when he wrestled with him. Seek him to implore that great commandment to love God and to love people. Seek him to be gracious to those who may not know him yet or who may be on a different part of their journey. But whatever the case is for you today, I pray that you seek him. Pray with me. Lord, today we seek you. Jesus, today we seek you. Holy Spirit, I pray today that you reveal yourself to us. If it's not in this place today, in this time under this roof, maybe it's in our home where we need to see you in a new way. Maybe it's in our workplace where we need to see you in a new way. Maybe it's at school where we need to see you in a new way. Maybe it's in our own spirit today where we've been struggling, we've been wrestling with some feelings, we've felt less than up to par to say I'm a Christian. But Lord, today I pray that you reveal yourself in a new way. And for those who haven't made that decision, for those who have just been considering the thought, maybe they felt your presence, maybe they've seen things that you've done, maybe they've heard about you all of their lives, but haven't made that decision. Today I pray that you reveal yourself in a new way. Today I pray that for those, they feel your presence, they hear your voice.